Have you ever wondered how entire cities, some larger than modern metropolises, could simply vanish from the face of the earth? From empires swallowed by jungle to civilizations undone by invisible forces, history holds secrets stranger than fiction. These aren't just ruins, they're echoes of brilliant societies brought down by the most unexpected causes. Get ready to uncover the top 10 lost cities and the bizarre, haunting reasons behind their disappearance. At number 10, we journey into the heart of the Amazon with the lost city of Kuhikugu. Deep in the impenetrable wilderness of the Amazon, British explorer Percy Fawcett chased an elusive dream, a magnificent lost metropolis he called the City of Z. His 1925 expedition into the rainforest ended in his mysterious disappearance, merging legend with reality. For decades, scholars dismissed Z as a myth, but modern archaeological discoveries, guided by indigenous oral histories, uncovered Kuhikugu, a complex network of towns and advanced infrastructure hidden beneath the foliage. These interconnected settlements, once home to tens of thousands, vanished not by war or collapse, but through an invisible biological invasion. European diseases, transmitted across vast indigenous trade routes, long before direct contact, decimated populations with no immunity. As human presence waned, the relentless jungle consumed roads, homes, and ceremonial spaces. By the time colonizers arrived, they found a wilderness devoid of the civilization it once held. The fate of Kuhikugu exemplifies how indirect global contact can unleash devastating consequences, erasing entire cultures before their discoverers even arrive. Coming in at number 9, we unveil the rose-red mystery of Petra. Nestled within Jordan's rugged cliffs, Petra stands as a timeless marvel, its majestic facades and tombs carved directly into red sandstone. Once the bustling capital of the Nabatean kingdom, this ancient city thrived by controlling lucrative trade routes that ferried spices, silk, and incense from Arabia to the Mediterranean. Its wealth was matched only by its architectural ingenuity, including complex water systems that sustained its 30,000 inhabitants. However, Petra's prosperity hinged on its strategic location. By the 2nd century AD, new maritime trade corridors bypassed overland routes, slowly draining Petra's economic lifeblood. Nature dealt the final blow. Massive earthquakes in 363 CE and 551 CE ravaged the city's infrastructure, reducing its grandeur to rubble. With commerce gone and its structure shattered, Petra slipped into obscurity, overshadowed by rising powers and new faiths. Its decline wasn't dramatic but slow and silent, highlighting how the ebb and flow of global commerce and the planet's restless geology can silently bury greatness beneath the dust of time. Landing at number 8, we brave the Arctic frontier with the Norse settlements of Greenland. Few stories of lost cities are as haunting as the Norse settlements in Greenland, a saga of survival, ambition, and ultimate isolation. In the late 10th century, Viking explorers led by Eric the Red carved out a life in Greenland's harsh landscape, establishing farms and hunting outposts that endured for nearly 500 years. These Norse colonies clung to European traditions while surviving on marginal land at the edge of the known world. Yet by the 15th century, they had mysteriously vanished. Their demise stemmed from an unrelenting trifecta: the onset of the Little Ice Age, which brought colder temperatures and droughts, the collapse of their ivory trade as African alternatives undercut their market, and the disintegration of support from Norway, weakened by the Black Death. Ironically, the Norse lived alongside the resourceful Inuit but resisted adopting their effective survival methods. This cultural rigidity, combined with environmental and economic collapse, doomed their colonies. Greenland's Norse saga is a chilling reminder that adaptation is often the key to endurance, and that failure to evolve can freeze even the boldest frontiers into forgotten relics. At number 7, we dive into one of history's oldest unsolved mysteries, the lost colony of Roanoke, assimilated into the unknown. Roanoke Island, off the modern coast of North Carolina, was the site of a bold attempt at English colonization in 1587. But when a supply ship returned 3 years later, the colony had disappeared, leaving behind only cryptic carvings, Croatoan and Crow. No bodies, no signs of battle, just eerie silence. While tales of massacre and starvation dominated speculation, the most compelling theory suggests a subtler fate: peaceful assimilation. With dwindling supplies and no help from England, settlers likely integrated with local indigenous groups, particularly the Croatoan tribe. Reports from later explorers described Native Americans with English features and literacy. The Lumbee tribe today holds oral histories claiming descent from Roanoke settlers, supported by shared surnames and artifacts. Archaeological finds of English goods far from the original site bolster this theory. Rather than dying out, the colonists may have survived by becoming part of a new culture. This redefines disappearance, not as annihilation, but as transformation under the pressure of survival betrayal and abandonment, highlighting how cultural blending can obscure historical legacies. Sliding into number 6, we uncover a misunderstood legacy, Easter Island, Rapa Nui. Famous for its mysterious moai statues and isolated location, Easter Island, known to its native people as Rapa Nui, has long been portrayed as a cautionary tale of environmental ruin. The popular version claims its inhabitants recklessly deforested the island, leading to starvation, warfare, and societal collapse. Yet modern research is rewriting that narrative in stunning ways. Recent archaeological and genetic evidence suggests that the Rapa Nui population remained stable up to European contact in 1722. Far from environmental self-destruction, they ingeniously adapted by developing stone-mulched gardens that conserved moisture and boosted crop yields. The real damage came after outsiders arrived, bringing disease, slavery, and deforestation on an industrial scale. Even more remarkably, genetic links to indigenous South Americans suggest pre-contact voyages across vast ocean distances. The strange reason Rapa Nui vanished isn't ecological suicide. It's the distortion of history by modern environmental fears. This powerful misinterpretation has overshadowed the islanders' true story, one of resilience, innovation, and endurance in one of Earth's most remote inhabited places. At number 5, we visit a mighty ancient metropolis torn from within, Teotihuacan. Towering pyramids, grand ceremonial avenues, and a population exceeding 100,000 once made Teotihuacan the heart of ancient Mesoamerica. Located near modern-day Mexico City, it was a cultural, economic, and religious powerhouse. Yet by the 6th century CE, its temples were in flames, its elite courts in ruins, and its political system fractured. Surprisingly, this wasn't due to foreign invasion or natural disaster. Instead, archaeological evidence points to an internal uprising, a rare case where a city's collapse was triggered by its own citizens. The destruction was methodical, targeted toward temples, palaces, and aristocratic compounds, sparing communal homes. Droughts and food shortages may have strained the city's resources, sparking resentment among the lower classes who saw the ruling elite as failing to appease the gods or meet basic needs. As desperation mounted, Teotihuacan's underclass turned on its leaders in a violent upheaval. The city would linger for centuries but never again achieve its former prominence. This episode reveals how fragile power structures can be when they lose the trust of those they govern, and how revolutions, silent or explosive, can redraw the destiny of empires. At number 4, we ascend the cliffs of Colorado to uncover Mesa Verde. Perched in the soaring canyons of present-day Colorado, the cliff dwellings of Mesa Verde are a striking reminder of the ingenuity of the ancestral Puebloans. These stone villages, some tucked into massive rock alcoves, stood as thriving communities for centuries. But by 1300 CE, these settlements were mysteriously abandoned. Walls were left unfinished, sacred kivas were deliberately torched, and tools lay where they were last used. The real mystery? They didn't vanish without a trace. They moved. The unusual aspect of Mesa Verde's disappearance was a mass organized migration prompted by decades of drought and social stress. For years, archaeologists struggled to trace their fate, until DNA analysis of turkey bones and the oral histories of the Tewa Pueblo people provided a stunning answer. The cliff dwellers had relocated south, taking their domesticated animals, rituals, and agricultural techniques with them. What was once interpreted as collapse is now seen as a strategic departure. The burning of kivas was likely ceremonial, signaling a purposeful transition rather than devastation. This case challenges traditional collapse narratives, demonstrating how environmental pressure, interpreted through indigenous oral tradition and genetic archaeology, reveals migration and resilience rather than disappearance. At number 3, we descend into the ancient Indus floodplains with Mohenjo-Daro. Once the centerpiece of one of the world's earliest urban civilizations, Mohenjo-Daro stood as a pinnacle of prehistoric engineering and city planning. With its symmetrical grid layout, advanced drainage system, and robust trade networks, it was a beacon of innovation in the ancient world. But around 1900 BCE, the city and others in the Indus Valley were gradually deserted. Contrary to outdated invasion theories, the true and unusual cause was climate disruption on a global scale. Beginning around 2500 BCE, shifts in the Arctic triggered a decline in summer monsoon rains, Mohenjo-Daro's agricultural lifeline. This wasn't an abrupt catastrophe, but a slow climatic chokehold. As rainfall declined, the Harappans could no longer sustain large-scale urban centers, forcing them to relocate toward the Himalayan foothills, where winter rains were more consistent. This gradual retreat marked a transformation from city life to rural resilience. The unraveling of Mohenjo-Daro was driven by atmospheric changes thousands of miles away, revealing how deeply interconnected early civilizations were to global climate systems, and how silent shifts in weather patterns could dissolve entire ways of life itself over generations. At number 2, we step into the Maya jungle to rediscover Tikal, a glittering jewel of the classic Maya period, once pulsed with life in the rainforests of present-day Guatemala. With its soaring temples, refined calendar systems, and flourishing trade routes, it stood as a testament to Maya brilliance. But by 900 CE, its plazas echoed with silence, the once vibrant city swallowed by the encroaching jungle. The strange cause of Tikal's downfall was a brutal convergence of prolonged drought and escalating internal warfare. Lake sediment studies show that the region suffered decades of intense aridity, crippling agriculture. This ecological stress collided with social fragmentation. Maya city-states were embroiled in fierce rivalries, and as crops failed, civil unrest mounted. The social elite, once seen as divine intermediaries, lost credibility, triggering uprisings and abandonment. The simultaneous environmental and political collapse created a devastating feedback loop where each problem magnified the other. Tikal's end wasn't a singular fall, it was a slow unraveling, illustrating how even sophisticated societies can implode when environmental instability intersects with unchecked political strife. Finally, at number 1, we arrive at the pinnacle of ancient grandeur. Angkor, the sprawling capital of the Khmer Empire, was once the largest city on Earth during the medieval period. Its massive stone temples, like Angkor Wat, standing as enduring icons of human ambition and sacred devotion. But by the 15th century, this urban marvel faded into obscurity, overrun by jungle and forgotten by history. While many point to the 1431 sacking by Ayutthaya, the more intricate truth lies in a strange interplay of environmental, economic, and ideological forces. Years of crippling drought, followed by intense monsoons, destabilized the city's elaborate water infrastructure. Erosion, deforestation, and overpopulation stressed an already fragile ecosystem. Meanwhile, the rise of Theravada Buddhism shifted religious and political paradigms, reducing the state's emphasis on monumental architecture. Simultaneously, emerging maritime trade routes shifted economic power toward coastal regions like Phnom Penh, draining Angkor's lifeblood. Angkor didn't fall all at once. It slowly lost its ability to sustain itself, both physically and spiritually. Its vanishing is a case study in how empires collapse, not through singular events, but through cascading changes that compound over time, until even the greatest city can be quietly consumed by its own weight and the tides of history. The lost cities we've explored aren't just ancient ruins, they're cautionary tales, rich with lessons about resilience, change, and the fragility of civilization. From climate shifts to cultural transformations, each story reveals how even the mightiest societies can disappear when balance is lost. As we navigate our own modern challenges, these vanished worlds offer timeless wisdom and a haunting reminder of what's at stake. If you found this journey through history fascinating, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching.